What's up, everyone? Looks like we have our first official sneak peek for August's update, V63, and it's definitely a doozy. We have a brand new sneak peek that we'll be taking a look at and kind of go through a little bit. First and foremost, on the forums, directly from Netmarble, we have greetings, agents, CM fragments. A grave danger from space looms over our planet. Several superheroes have gathered to stand against the threat. In these unknown circumstances, the denizens of Earth need more than a hero. What we need is a king. So that's very, very foretelling. Even just this image itself. This text is actually different than what's on Twitter. If we go to the Twitter, it actually explicitly states that it is Black Bolt. That's correct. We have Black Bolt coming, and let's take a look at this while we look at it. I'm going to pause it a couple of seconds because there's definitely something we definitely want to catch. Oh, did you see it? Let's slow it down right here. See if we can. We might have to do this on YouTube just to get a better shot of it. Did you see it? It's so slick. It's done very, very well. There's the T. And let's see if we can get the other part. And there's a 3. So it's pretty official, I would say. T3 coming from Black Bolt. That's fantastic, I think. He's not in a place where he is meta breaking, and he probably should be. I mean, he's powerful in the comics. The man speaks, and a planet will split apart in half. But I want to kind of dive a little bit deeper into the origin of this because I think that's where we can get some clues about what else we may be seeing in the update. So, as some people may have gathered, and I don't know if they've gathered it correctly, but this actually is coming from Earth X. Earth X was a series written by Alex Ross, done in the late 90s, I want to say 1999. And this is the original design. You'll see his mask matches the mask that we've got going on in the teaser. See how he's got that faceplate on his, wearing a mask, that's relevant, right? But he's got a faceplate over his, you can't see him at all, as denoted by the black glass plate with no visible features. So that's directly from Alex Ross. This is actually a little bit older, but it's related to a comic run that's actively happening right now. See, the Marvel's X is actually a prequel to the Earth X series. This was released in January 8th. It's actually supposed to be 6 issues and still ongoing. They haven't released the last issue yet. But one of the variant covers that they released is this one. Tell me if that doesn't look familiar. Right? How good is this sneak peek team, right? That is so good. Yes, it says Guardians of the Galaxy. It's relating to a different Guardians of the Galaxy. They actually don't appear in the Black Bolt doesn't appear in that comic at all. But every now and again, Marvel does these variant covers to try and get some folks excited about other books that are happening. So this Guardians of the Galaxy features Black Bolt on the cover with the same face-plated mask and the same uniform that looks like we're getting in the game. And as you can see, published January 22nd. So actually very, very recent. And then the other cover that's of relevance is the actual one from Earth X from 1999. This cover actually features all of the Inhumans on it. That's Medusa, to not be confused. She is in this comic as well. It's the story of Earth X is about a dystopian run of the comics where everyone basically turns into an Inhuman. There's a plot going on. Maximus is at the head of it, but it's actually Black Bolt who causes the terror in this explosion. Causes everybody to turn into an Inhuman. Literally, I mean, it's very, very bleak. It's dark. No new children are born. All of our heroes have aged. Cap is like 100 years old. It's a very underrated comic because it foretells the events that happen later on. Some of the stuff is actually quite interesting. Not to really get into spoilers, but it sets a precedent. Something like Panther and Storm are married in this comic series. I think it's 19 issues long, but it was done 6 years before it actually happened in canon, Earth 616. By the way, this is Earth 9997, so these characters aren't necessarily the same characters. They haven't gotten their powers the same way. Their backgrounds are a little bit different. Spider-Man actually reveals himself in this before, and this was obviously in 1999, before Civil War, when he actually did it in Earth 616. Other things that show up in this comic that are interesting is a female Thor is actually in this comic. Female Thor is more because Loki's a trickster, and causes Odin to want to give Thor some humility, so he changes into a female, which sets the precedent later on. As we all know, Jane Foster becomes Mighty Thor, so that's coming up. But yeah, I love this comic run. Was fantastic. We've got a gallery of different costumes that they can pull from either the 1999 run or the new run. The 1999 run featured a Captain America that looks like this, and that's what we all need, right? Another Captain America uniform. Hopefully that doesn't show up anytime soon. We don't really need it. This is actually Daredevil on a bike, but Daredevil isn't Matt Murdock, it's Mephisto. So things are a little bit wonky over there. Like I said, this comic is completely different than what we would normally get in Earth 616, so just be mindful of something like that. But in terms of what we may actually be seeing in the variant covers that we've been getting for this comic book run, we actually see some rather interesting things. That's a male Captain. These are just the variant covers, so we don't really actually know what they'll be. That could either be Captain Marvel or maybe even Nova. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't actually look into the detail of this one. You read that right. That's Deadpool as a person not from this time, right? Doctor Strange. That to me looks like a Clea. I'm not entirely sure though, because again, this is stuff that's pre that storyline, so we don't really know. Guardians of the Galaxy, obviously Black Bolt, the one cover that we are talking about now. This would be Iron Man. Well, it's on the cover of Iron Man 2020. And then we got a Fat Man Peter Parker. So that's always fun. Peter Parker gets through quite a few things in this comic book run. Thor. That's another interesting, very, very, very interesting Thor that we have. And then we have another Venom, which looks a lot like Spider-Man. And then X-Force, we have another, what looks like Colossus. But I don't know if that actually is Colossus. I think it might be somebody else. But yeah, this run of variant covers may be an indication of what characters we are coming. Well, obviously see. The other clue that we have is the 8-week check-in that we just got. This 8-week check-in just started in game, so we're on like day 2. But week 2 is Black Bolt, which is nice. Moon Girl, and we've got Miss Marvel, who is also a Inhuman. So she may be getting a rework, and that's obviously very much needed. Karnak is one of the original royal family, so he should be getting a rework. Medusa's not necessarily. Her uniform's pretty good. She is not necessarily breaking now, but worthwhile. And then worthwhile investing in. And then we have Crystal. Crystal's in a pretty good, solid place in the game. I'd probably use her for Shadow Lane. She doesn't really clear any world bosses, but she's all right. And then we have our tier 2. Hey folks, I'm not sure what exactly happened with the video, but I wanted to cover my bases here. Black Bolt's son is also featured in the same costume, as well as the villain by the name of Vox. I'll have to go into those in a little bit more detail at some other time. Let's see if those show up. But otherwise, I wanted to know, what did you guys think? Day 1 T3 for Black Bolt? Are you guys, do you guys have the materials for it? Are you guys going to do that? As always, thank you again for watching, subscribing, following, commenting, whatever it may be. That's always greatly appreciated. But until next time, I'll see you soon.